Good day, everybody. This is our daily horizon view. As always, this is the ASX exchange traded funds, and this is our top fives for the 31st of the 5th, 2019. Our spotlight today is QAU, which is the BetaShares Gold Bullion ETF, currency hedged. We are here to crack your financial sky. Here to give you guys information, really, just to build up everybody's confidence, I suppose. Give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe, greatly appreciated. Definitely helps me along with my work and getting videos out there, expanding the audience. So let's run through the top five rises. We saw GDX, MNRS, PM Gold, CNU, and QAU. Hang around for QAU, guys. I think it's an interesting little chat there later on towards the end of the prezzo. Today we saw GDX, which is the Van Eck Vectors Gold Miners ETF, up 2.76%, which equates to 81 cents. We had a volume of 4,500 shares traded. You can look at those codes there and see that it's a sort of a good day for the miners or gold-related ETFs there. The only one out of place there was CNU, which is the China New ETF. Let's crack on and have a look at the top five percentage falls. We had OOO, QCB, QR, HJPN, and DIV. So OOO, for those who may not be regular viewers, that is the BetaShares Crude Oil Index ETF, which is currency hedged and synthetic. We saw a fall today of 5.2%, which is pretty big in the scheme of things. That was an 85-cent drop. Saw some reasonable volume for that ETF. We saw 12,400 shares traded. Top $5 rises. Let's have a look through these ones. We saw ILB, GDX, IHCB, IKO, and CETF. So ILB is the iShares Government Inflation ETF, and that invests primarily in investment grade fixed income securities issued by federal and state government of Australia. We saw a rise today of $1.19, which equated to a 0.95% rise. A reasonable volume of 6,100 shares traded. Top $5 falls. We saw IJH, IVV, IHVV, IJR, SPY. So IJH is the iShares S&P Midcap 400. That one tracks the performance of the midcap sector in the US equities market. That ETF has a market cap of roughly $160 million, and there's a small dividend there of 1.28% when I checked last. It was down a whopping $2.33, which really only equates to 0.88%. Not much really in the scheme of things, on reasonable volume of 9,400 shares traded. Looking at the codes there, pretty much it's all US down today, so pretty much everyone's moving their money into inverted commas safe haven assets and moving it out of the US. Still trouble in China and the US with the tariff wars. Top 5 number of trades. We saw VAS, IVV, VGS, VTS, and VAP. So those 5 are all in the big end of the scheme of things for the ETFs on the Australian market. So VAS is the Vanguard Australia Share Index. That one tracks the S&P ASX 300. That is a pretty big ETF. It's got a market cap of roughly 3.5 billion. Dividend yield of 4.5%, if I can get that out right. Has a Morningstar rating of bronze, so that's not too bad. Number of trades today, we saw 209. There's a few traders in the market on that one, but looking at a downside on that one, was down 2 cents or 0.02%. So have a quick run over the volume here. Coupon, IXJ, IOZ, ETHI, and HACK. So Coupon is the BetaShares Australia Bank Senior Floating Rate Bond ETF. So if you're chasing bonds, this might be one to look at. So that one tracks a sole active Australia Bank Senior Floating Rate Bond Index. Reasonable size ETF, this one, about $44 million in that one. Sorry, apologies, $440 million in that ETF. There's a dividend yield of 2.66%. So we saw quite a big volume for this one, 1.6 million shares traded. That's quite a lot. I don't think I've seen one trading that much volume for quite a while. So we saw a rise of 1 cent, which equates to 0.04%. So definitely some people moving money into sort of safer haven options out of more riskier, or what people perceive as riskier investments. Top 5 for value. What do we see here? We saw Coupon again, which is no surprise because there's a shirtload of volume. IXJ, Bill, VAS, and IKO. So probably don't need to run through Coupon again, but we saw a pretty big volume here of $40.3 million. That looks like almost a tenth of the market cap of this stock, which is quite astonishing, actually. I haven't seen that before that to that level, so that one's popular. So people are piling into that one, definitely for sure. Okay, so let's crack on into our spotlight today, which is QAU. That's the BetaShares Gold Bullion ETF, which is currency hedged. So investment objective is to track the performance of the price of gold bullion which is currency hedged against movements in the AU US dollar exchange rate. So it's backed by a physical gold bullion. The fund offers a convenient way for investors to gain exposure to the price of gold without the inconvenience associated with directly purchasing, storing, or insuring physical gold bullion. So the Y factor here is the ETF provides exposure to the performance of the price of gold bullion backed by physical gold in the vault. As mentioned before, the fund is hedged US dollar exposure back to the Australian dollar, providing for a pure exposure to the gold price. So gold is often viewed as a safe haven in times of volatility and economic uncertainty. Gold can be used as a hedge against potential inflation. So we had a net asset value of 1304, trading just above at 1316, so $13.16. Market cap of $79,100,000. We had a management fee here of 0.95, which for physical gold to me seems to be a bit high, but I'm no expert, but to me that just looks a bit high for pretty much you just buying gold and leaving in the vault. Obviously no distribution because the gold doesn't pay a dividend, so your dividend yield is going to be 0. So this ETF can be used in a few different ways, such as if you were to take a position on the future upside of the gold price. So if you thought gold was low and it's going to go up, you could buy it to make some money that way. As mentioned before, gold is seen as a safe haven asset in uncertain times. It's seen as having a low correlation with other investments such as commodities and equities. So it could be, a piece of your portfolio anyway. So have a look at QCB, which is another alternative to QAU. Have a look at PM Gold, which is Perth Mint Gold, and also have a look at GDX. So I've done a video on GDX previously, so if you want to have a look at that, go back through the Daily Horizon Views. I think it was done back in March. Just a quick overview on that one. So looking at the overall return, inception was June 2011 by the look of it. Oh, sorry, May 2011. So you're underwater. You're not making any money over the long term here on this ETF. I don't really like gold too much anyway. From my point of view, I don't think that the gold is such a great investment because it doesn't really create it's not really that useful. I don't think, So Warren Buffett has been very vocal about this of his dislike for the gold as an investment. He sees little to no value in it. Buffett refers to it as a lack of value results in a lack of usefulness. So it doesn't create anything, and it therefore doesn't really have much of a use. So he once said that it doesn't have anything, but it sits there and it looks at you. So it doesn't do anything, but it just sits there and looks at you. So it doesn't do anything for you, So one of Buffett's basic principles for investing is that you should only invest in things that are useful and that serve some purpose and that supply some practical need that people have, So I just, when you kind of compare it to silver, silver kind of has more utility. So, you can put silver into a lot more industrial uses and, even like into medical devices and stuff. So, I mean, not one that I'd really look hard at. Not really into gold as an investment anyway. So there you go. Make your own mind up about it anyway. So as always, we're not promoting any particular ETF or product, purely information here. So you need to take your own financial situation into account and get additional information and complete further research as and where required before we make any purchases. As mentioned before, we're here to give you financial just information, I suppose, trying to demystify the whole world, make it not as scary as it appears at times. So we're here to crack your financial sky, make you guys a bit more confident if we can. So give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and make sure to hit the bell because you want to know when the new videos come through. Sometimes I try to get them out at the end of every day, but sometimes it just doesn't happen depending on what else I'm doing at the time. Thanks, guys. Leave a comment. Yes, give us a like. Greatly appreciated. Catch you tomorrow. Ciao.